Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Fuzz. It's time for the next reveal. 3 more awesome cards are coming in. So I got the packs open right here. Let's see what we get. I'm just gonna take a quick look at them first, and then I'm gonna take a deep breath and then give you my opinion on the cards. So let's have a look-see. Bam. Oh baby, we got a totem. That's pretty sick. I actually remember this art. I saw it some time ago, and we were all pretty sure it was going to be a totem. We just didn't know which one. And it is a nature totem, which is pretty cool because we had a nature shaman coming. So, yeah. And what does this one do? When you play a shaman, you may pay 1 energy to give creatures you control +1/+1. That's all of them. Power boosting totem. It's going to be... You know, I've been wondering if there's gonna be more totems, and now we got more totems. Cool stuff. And we got another shaman. Oh baby, this is gonna be fun. So I saw this art too. It's about a 2 mana 2/1. You may play this shaman under a creature you control and put a might emblem on that creature. When that creature leaves the field, he goes back to the board. Cool. I like that. And what's the rare? No. Oh yeah. What the heck? Orc totem. A legendary totem. Man, is this like a shaman reveal or something? All shamans and totems. That's pretty awesome. Whenever an allied shaman enters the field, pay 1 mana to transform this into a 3 attack, 3 health, 1 speed creature until end of turn. So hey, it's a totem lamp. Basically, that's what it is. So okay, fun stuff. So let's think about these, individually, and see how they're gonna fit. Okay, so interesting reveal. All shaman and totem related. I really didn't expect that. So it's more nature and rage. Rage finally gets its first card. So now the obvious question is the shaman deck going to change? Is the current version, which now runs Wolf Tongue and Kayanu, going to improve as a result of new cards? You might think, well, obviously they have more options. However, the thing is that every card they get has to be, it'll probably going to be replacing another one, because right now they already have like 12 totems and like 16 shamans. There's not much more room for new totems and shamans in the deck, so the cards have to be really, really useful. One nice thing about it is that the hero power that looks for totems is now going to be able to hit a lot more often, and that's pretty good. So let's start from the top. The common guy, the new shaman. So, very cool idea. Basically, it's like you play him as a touch of light. You power up a creature, and then when the creature dies, you then just get the body on the board. So it seems like pretty good value at a glance. However, I'm not sure what you would play him like under, because this is like the cheapest shaman, one of the cheapest shamans. There is no 1-drop shaman yet, so there's nothing you can follow that up with. And there is... The way the curve works out is that you want to generally start with Rage to play the Swiftness totem. So I'm not sure how he's going to fit, but it is a cool card. That said, I mean, you don't have to play him in just Shamans and Totems, right? I mean, a card like this, that's an immediate buff when you want it, and then still gets you the body, it seems reasonable to me. You could almost think of it as a Touch of Light and the Goblin Warrior in one card. That's cool. I actually think that's pretty cool design. So I think this card has potential, definitely. Whether it will be played in the shaman deck remains to be seen. I'll definitely be trying it out. And whether it'll be played in any other deck also remains to be seen. Very interesting. It is a goblin, which means it gets swift with Firebrand Goblin. That could be something. Although, I mean, you're not going to be using that synergy much, since you can't simultaneously put a counter and make it swift. So yeah, looking forward to trying out. And in Trials, it's probably actually pretty decent card. because it's a buff, and buffs are really powerful in the game. So, yeah, should be a reasonable card in Trials as well. Now we move on to the Totems. Totem of the Moon. So, I've been wondering whether they're gonna make a totem that, you know, powers up creatures. I was expecting a totem that when you play a Shaman, you give it a +1/+1 counter. Not so much with this one. Instead, you give all of your creatures +1/+1 until end of turn. Kind of like a War Fanfare. That seems like really good effect, right? With only 2 charges, the only thing I'm wondering here is, can you actually get enough Shamans on the board to get value out of this? Possibly, but much like the guy we just reviewed, this is kind of off curve, since again, Shamans would rather start with Rage because they have more options that way. So if you start with Nature and you play, you know, nothing on turn 1, and then you play this on turn 2, you don't really have a great follow-up. And Shamans generally don't tend to have that many creatures on the board. Their goal is to build up the Lightning Totem and the Legends Totem to, you know, get draws and clears, and then eventually swift in a lot of creatures. I think it's a cool effect, but I'm not sure if he'll actually fit it in. Maybe. Right now, the Kayano deck has 12 totems. Maybe putting in like a couple of these could be good. More totems means Yard Priest gets bigger. Sure, definitely much bigger. So we'll see. Although at a glance, much like the previous guy, I think the card has potential, but it's not necessarily like an, oh yes, I'm going to put this into my Shaman deck like Wolf Tongue was. No, it's all right, but we'll have to see if it's actually good enough, because you have to think about what it is it's competing against. We've got the Totem of Swiftness, which gives up to 3 Shamans Swift. That's pretty good. Then we've got the Totem of Legends, which draws you cards. That's amazing. And then we've got the Lightning Totem, which, you know, removes creatures. That's also amazing. So this effect is harder to use. I mean, if you get one creature +1/+1, you know, an existing Shaman, that's, I guess, pretty decent. If you can get a good trade on the board, that could work. But I don't know. This totem might be the cause to revisit some other cards, such as the Ancestors Guide guy, which is the 1/1 with 3 speed. But even then, I don't think it's gonna work out very well. You don't necessarily want to swarm the board with like bad Shamans just to get benefit off of this. So we'll have to see. We'll see what people come up with. At a glance, I'm not entirely convinced that this card will necessarily make it in. Maybe you'll toss in like 2 of them just to have more totems. Yeah, but I can't imagine this being a 4-of. But I could be wrong. I mean, +1/+1 to all your creatures. It could even create an entirely different kind of a Shaman deck. We just play a lot more aggressively, and then you can get like 2 or 3 Shamans, and every new Shaman gets played, you get like +1/+1 across the board. That could be insane. But we'll have to see. We'll see what the crazy players come up with. In Trials, this card is probably really bad, because unless you're specifically drafting it with Rage, you're not going to get enough Shamans to get anything out of it. But if you are drafting this with Rage, if you get Rage or Nature, maybe, but I wouldn't start with this. You know, if you already picked up a couple Shamans, yeah, you could probably pick this up, but only so-so. It's heavily dependent on what your other cards are. Like, if your first pick is this, probably pass. But if you already have like 5 Shamans and like 3 other totems, maybe you could pick it up. And the last card, we've got a legendary totem. It's an Orc totem. I don't know what that really means. I mean, it's an Orc, but there's no synergy with Orcs. So, it is Lamp of Zephyr in totem form. When you play a Shaman, this transforms into a 3/3 with 1 speed creature until end of turn, and it has 2 charges. Pretty cool. The only thing that's turning me off here is that 1 speed on the creature. A 3/3 with 1 speed is just not very good, and you can't really use it to trade on the board because you can't really attack anything. I mean, you can kill zombie legionnaires, and that's about it. So, much like with the Totem of the Moon, I'm not sure you'll even want to play this. Definitely not 4-of. because the 3/3 basically is just going to be going face. You could almost think of it as when you play a shaman, deal 3 face damage to your opponent sometimes, if they can actually, if he can get through, if they can't really block it. Might be interesting, but man, that 1 speed is a real bummer. If it was 2 speed, it would be actually really, really good, because then you could play it on turn 3, and then it could actually control the board somewhat. It could help protect you, but because it can't do that, Shaman's biggest problem is early game. They don't have really anything good to play early to oppose like goblins. They have to rely very much on the Totem of Swiftness to swift out some of their guys, and this doesn't help you with that. This doesn't help you control the board. It doesn't help you trade. It just helps you go face, but Shamans are not an aggressive deck by nature. Maybe the idea is to use this with the Totem of the Moon. This transforms into a creature, and then the Totem of the Moon gives this a buff as well. Maybe, but there's no 1-drop Shaman. There is a couple 2-drop Shamans, but they're different aspects. So I just can't imagine this aggressive Shaman deck coming out. I don't think that'll ever happen, because just the totems by nature are slow. When you play a totem, it doesn't immediately do anything. So I don't think that can happen. So I'm not actually very keen on this card, to be honest. I don't think I would include it in my deck. I don't think I would, because it's basically just a little bit of extra face damage. And maybe that's not so bad. I mean, along with your Swiftness Totem, you could get some nice bursts in with this and like a Swifted Shaman. But if you do include this in your deck, I imagine no more than maybe 1 or 2 copies. Definitely not a 4-of. And in Trials, much like the other Totem, actually, I don't even think you want this at all in Trials, because it has no other effect without Shamans. And, again, it just does 3 damage to face if you get it. And that's not too great. No, I don't think this is much good in Trials. Unless, again, you already have, like, really great synergies going on with Totems and Shamans, but that's rather optimistic. Like, I've never been able to do that, so not too good. So, what do we think? Well, Shamans. That's it. That's really the only thing that's going to improve, maybe. And I'm not even sure. Wolf Tongue was an auto-include just because of how strong he was without even any support. These cards seem really cool. Particularly, this guy is the one that interests me the most. I really like how this is designed. This kind of like a dual-purpose card. You can just play it on the board as a body to activate some totems and stuff. Or you can use it as a buff to get a better trade. Maybe you can even play it in a non-shaman deck. I don't know. The totems, though, not that impressed at a glance, but that shouldn't be a bit of a surprise. The 3 totems we currently have are really good, really, really powerful. So it's like you can't really make totems that powerful. I think I would sooner add Totem of the Moon into my deck than the other one, because the power boost could help you clean up the board, especially with a Swiftness Totem. You could actually get some really silly combos if you play Swiftness Totem first, and then this thing, and then play like a couple creatures, and then they all get like +2/+2 and Swift, and then you just do massive damage. But I don't know. So yeah, looks like Shamans are now going to be a dual-colored faction. Almost definitely Nature and Rage, because that's where all the stuff is. Wolf Tongue is Nature, and Kayanu should work pretty well as well with the whole thing. Yeah. Maybe these 3 cards are a little bit less impressive just because they're all focused on helping one faction. This probably means we will not see any more Totems and Shamans, because they've given us 2 of each, right? So, that's quite a bit. Maybe 1 more, at most 1 more of each. I don't think we're gonna get any more than that, because any more would just be redundant, right? There's only so many Shamans and Totems you're gonna use. You're gonna use the best ones. So, yeah, that's that. So, it'll be fun to test these out, but I'm not as hyped as I was when I saw things like Wolf Tongue and like Slave Gladiator and stuff. But maybe it'll be fun. Anyways, that's it for that. Oh, there's one more thing. there have been some card changes. Oh man. So Drayla is now 3 mana. Yep. She's 1 mana less than before. See, now taking off a mana cost from a card is usually going to make it really good. Drayla was never bad at 4, just not quite good enough. At 3, I'm actually kind of scared, because you play Drayla and you basically get to cast a Mind Extortion, right? That's nice, that's good value, and the body is really good, and it has that cool endgame effect. And Kayanu can play her. Man, that's terrifying. I think we might start seeing a lot more of Drayla, and that scares me a bit. It really, really does. I think this creature is just insane. I mean, it's basically on the power level of Phoenix and Guardian of the Faithful, basically. Which is ridiculously powerful. So expect to see a lot more of Drayla. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I will have to see. A little bit scared of this one. And there's one other change, and that's Reverence. The thing they changed with this one is when you play a creature from hand this turn. So this has exactly one implication, and that is Brothers in Arms. Brothers in Arms, wherever this guy is, no longer draws you 2 cards when you play him with Reverence. Only 1. That is a direct nerf to Hate Bears, because that was one of the main things they were using. You just save a Brothers in Arms for Reverence, and you get like a bunch of cards. So a little bit of a nerf to Hate Bears. That's fine. This interaction was a little bit silly. I wonder if they'll still even play this. I think maybe. It still has decent synergy with Flesh Sculptor, but if Neva ever goes into another aspect, like Dominion for the Slave Gladiator, I don't think they're gonna play this, because without Sculptor, it's just too easy to remove these guys. Yeah, I'm fine with that. A little bit of a nerf to Hate Bears is good enough for me. It's probably not enough. I think just because there's always going to be new cards released, and Neva could find herself using her hero power with those cards instead. And in fact, one such deck that I'm going to try out is with Dominion, because Dominion has several interesting 2-cost cards that could go with Reverence, such as Slave Gladiator, which costs 0 mana with it. Pretty good, right? So that's what I'm going to be trying out. We'll see if this new version of Hate Bears is any good. And we'll see if Miss Neva continues to be OP, even without the Flesh Sculptor. We'll have to see. So yeah, should be fun. Really did not expect the change to Drayla, to be honest. I mean, yes, I know she wasn't played much, but I think now she's going to be very, 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 very played. And in Trials, of course, she's going to be insane. Okay, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys out there, and we'll see what the future holds. Now, of course, it's important to note that the cards we just previewed will not be legal for Masters. Not that I don't think they will necessarily see play there, but that's important to know that every card from here on in is no longer legal in the following Masters tournament. Only the first 7. So we'll see if that has any impact. I expect Wolf Tongue to see play there. And yeah, fun to see more cards. Although I think I would rather see the like I'd see only one of the 3 cards. Like give us one of the totems and 2 other cards, instead of like just giving all of the totems and shamans at once. But hey, it's okay. There's always next week for more awesome cards. So thanks for coming by, and I'll see you guys next time.